Gildarie. Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Make your voices be heard. Call us, text us. Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM. The Wake Up Guyana Show.
Win $100,000 monthly with Sleepy Sanitary Pads. Sleepy Sanitary Pads are all natural and are made with cotton and bamboo fibers. It is dye and lotion free, hence no irritations or rashes. Sleepy Sanitary Pads are available in two sizes, ultra thin and thick. It is affordable and available nationwide. See press for details. Visit our Sleepy South America Facebook page or call us on 233-2473.
Welcome once again. It's a brand new weekend that we would have had there because guess why? Elections, elections, elections. The United States of America. Biden has been, well, not declared winner, but the count so far has put him ahead of the 270 mark that he would have needed. So it was all a weekend. There was a lot of excitement in the United States, of course, on one side. On the other side, like Guyana, a lot of unhappiness that Donald Trump was not the winner of that election. Of course, that case is engaged in some legal avenues right now in the United States of America. This is the Wake Up Guyana Show. I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie, and it is November the 9th, 2020. Had a very long weekend, lots of work. Did some work again yesterday. Were lots of rains last evening on the coastal areas. Some flooding as we would have expected because of the intensity of the rainfall. And we expecting that at least another day or two, according to the authorities in Guyana when it comes to the weather situation. So we have plenty things to tell you today. We are at 2 o'clock. Thereabouts, we are going to have Lall, our publisher of Kaieteur News, director of Kaieteur Radio, in the studio here because we want to hear from him. Last evening, he was on radio here, Kaieteur Radio, and man, was he on fire. Very brutal when it comes to talking about the oil situation, about our situation in Guyana when it comes to our natural resources. So I want to get from Lall in the hot seat today. What is it exactly? Why is it that a newspaper man would want to get involved in ensuring that the people of Guyana becomes aware of the situation with oil and gas? Well, we will hear it from his mouth because he has a show on Sunday and maybe some other days as well. And he wants to talk. He's going to be very candid as to what he expects, what he wants to say in the next in his future shows. So I'm excited to actually put the boss on the spot and have him flinch maybe on the question and so on. Let's see what happens when Lall is in the room. Anything can and will happen. And if you've missed that show last evening, it is on Kaieteur Radio, on Facebook, and Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. If you've missed it, it's there right now. What I could tell you, there is some news that I must tell you today. Our WhatsApp number, for whatever reason, is down at the moment. We're trying to get it up back. But you could you could text us right now on 625-0323. 625-0323. And I'm going to ask our people in the studio to put that text number onto the screen right now. You could send us on your WhatsApp, on the WhatsApp, you could send us those messages to 625-0323. 0323. We're going to put it up on screen, 6250323, WhatsApp or SMS. So we're going to put it on the screen. I'm going to keep repeating it over the next hour or two as we keep your company here on the Wake Up Guyana show, and much things to say today. But before we do anything else, as usual, we would like to tell you about what is happening in your favorite newspaper, in Guyana's largest selling daily newspaper. And this is going back to Saturday. GGMC's company secretary escape execution attempt. Very, very serious case here. And he's the corporate secretary, Mr. Jax Foster, who was thrown into the street late evening and saw a man who appears to be urinating. The man turned around and fired shots at him. He pulled out his gun and fired 2 shots and then went home. He was shot in his hand. So that's a very serious thing. It looks, for all indications, as an execution attempt, and he's walked away from it just with a shot. Kaieteur Kanji giveaway, no laws broken, no corruption, says VP Gildarie. Government to seek out beneficial owners of oil blocks. Government closed loophole in license permits with safeguards from Payara. 3 no COVID deaths pushed toll to 134. Belgium's 11.5 tons of cocaine seizure. Atlanticville businessman, person of interest, broker arrested. So they've named a gentleman by the name of Marlon Primo. He's said to have a company that does scrap iron export. Kanu says they have not been able to put their hands on him. Over the weekend, yesterday, GRA officials were being questioned because, you know, if you send any containers through our ports here, it has to be scanned. And so they would want to know what happened in this particular case. Was the container scanned? Did the drugs leave from here? What did those scans say? What did the records say that GRA supposed to have? Well, last evening, Kanu indicated that the 3 GRA officials are in custody, as well as the broker who would have been clearing that container to send it overseas. Echo's couple was alive when deadly fire started. This is the PM. You could recall the 2 persons that was burned up in the new home at Eccles there. Police were treating it as a murder suicide, and they said both of them were alive when the fire started, so they burned to death literally. Bodies badly burned there. Jagdio says government will soon identify evaluators for oil sale bids. Guyana sales stock on audit for 460 million pre-contract costs owed to Exxon. Now we move on to November the 8th, 2020. Biden wins. Big headlines here. That is according to the Kaieteur news here. And that would have been the news that was coming according to the projections and the count that was ongoing. The figures put Biden ahead, and he is ramping it up right now. And let me tell you this, they have some serious issues. He's headed into office with a pandemic that's raging across the world. And as we speak right now, it seems that the first order of business for Joe Biden as president-elect is to head and look straight into this pandemic, which has racked this world, which has thrown this world off course, and has damaged economies, has damaged so many things, jobs, loss of jobs, and so on. Many families are now suffering across the world because of that. And so his first order of business is put together a task force, I understand, from reading the news, and he's tackling that. Kanchi block owners extend tentacles deeper into the oil industry, and this story is shocking. It shows that the same persons who had little experience given oil blocks on the Kanji would have also recorded or registered a business which allows them to serve the oil industry. So it's one block of people. This is what the story is saying. That's getting the jobs. Nothing for Guyanese people. ExxonMobil continues to provide no evidence on billions claimed to be spent on local content. Come back, both stories are linked because they said that they spent about billions of dollars. Where is the money coming, or where's the money going to? Who are they providing these things to? How many? Where exactly is the money that they say? They have not provided any information on that, or very little information. Belgium's 11.5 tons cocaine. Kanu to Primo. Come in, we can protect you. And it says, turn yourself in. The attention is turned to GRA, but they're saying to the prime suspect, Kanu is very worried that because of this volume here, that he may not be very safe, this businessman. So they said, we can offer you protection, come into us. Escobar man dies a month after being dragged, pinned by speeding horse. Horse is the vehicle that fetches bodies, and so he would have been dragged and went into the hospital, Georgetown Public Hospital, taken to. And after a month, he died. A very weird case. Condolences to the family there. Government will go after architects, not victims, in Ogle lands giveaway. This vice president by Jack, because he says, the people didn't ask for these lands. You recall several parcels of land given away without the people completing the transactions at Ogle, very prime land, very valuable lands. And these people received the lands, several persons, without even paying or paying very little. And they didn't complete those transactions yet. They put the lands in the name of these people. We would have spoken to this before. Nearly 50 companies overseas submit expressions of interest for new Demerara Harbour Bridge, and this would have been coming out of the mouths of a Minister of Public Works, Juan Edgel, over the weekend. He would have been swearing in a new board for the Demerara Harbour Bridge, and he's saying that there is, as you know, government is speeding ahead with the new bridge for across the Demerara River there. And what you see, 550 companies, and this says still December, we opening it still, and so we want to see other companies because we want to move very quickly. When we close this, these expressions here, meaning expressions basically says we have the capacity to build this bridge here. It's a build and I think design, and then you hand it over to the government. At this point in time, these people, more than 50 companies, more giveaway in oil blocks. CGX got coalition to water down work program for quarantine block. Companies still fail to honor new obligations. And if you don't understand what this story means, it's very, very simple. You would have been given a piece of land to do login, and in this case, it's oil, to do your exploration. You didn't do it. Then you went back and you said that you're going to do something else, and the previous government extended the time in which they were given it. Now, this all comes in context that you have oil in the next door neighbor. The next door neighbor have oil. So why would you not want to do any kind of exploration? And why would we allow you to still hold on to those blocks that we could probably take and give it to somebody else who could develop so we could get some money out of it? But yet you hold on to it, you don't do anything, or you do very little, and we allow that to pass. What's wrong with us? Something is wrong with us, right? No laws broken, but dreams were, and this is a front page comment in Kaieteur News yesterday. So we move quickly to the front page of the Monday's edition. Today's November the 9th edition of the Kaieteur News here. Regent Street fire destroyed by late night. Regent Street store destroyed by late night fire. Again, very, very sad. And this is just in front or next door to the GBTI Bank there on Regent Street, between Wellington and Camp Street there. So they blocked off that entire area because they have to do some cleaning up and so on. And this is very, very sad at this point in time when you see businesses going up in flames. It's not an easy thing for the business people. It's not an easy thing for the workers there because you have to pay, especially if you don't have insurance. Very important that you take your insurance. Demerara Oil Block CGX breach contract by coalition government, still approve extension to 3 more years. This is a story that we just talked about. This is the top headline. Kaieteur newspaper today. Remove criminal GCOM elements before local government elections. And this is Jack Dio would have been talking during a press conference on Friday. So it's very, very clear where this government is going. We don't want no local government elections, having the same people who overlooked the elections during the recent times to be sitting overlooking the local government elections. So Jack Dio is making it very clear. They have to be removed. And so let's see where that goes. We are in for some fighting here right now. Bino not qualified to head the energy department. Removal likely. This Jack Dio talking about the head of the energy department, Mark Bino, Dr. Mark Bino. US $150 million in Compton CGI renovation project. And this is the iPass that Guyanese people should be paying attention to. Chinese contractor defies court, submits revised work plan lacking designs from original contract. So the government, the president, like a little boy, went down to the airport to find out what that this contractor was doing, this Chinese contractor with our airport. And he says, we have to fix it. I'm not taking this airport here. I'm not taking this airport over. You can't hand it over. We're not accepting it as the people of Guyana. So the government told the Chinese contractor, China Harbor Engineer Company, that look, you have to come up with something else. Give us a work plan and how you intend to fix these issues here. Because what you have is by thousands and thousands of square foot that they reduced it by this terminal building. and they reduce it and they give it to the Guyanese people, whether it was with the government or not. At the end of the day, they reduce the square footage of the terminal building there, and the government is saying no, 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 you got to come back. So what they did, they give work programs of how they would correct it, and guess what? Back to square one. It doesn't show how they can bring it up to scratch so we could know that we got 150 million US dollars worth in work there, including on that terminal building that we have there. That piece of I don't know what to call it. I know you guys would have an explanation description for that. Man robs priest during church service. This is very, very sad. Let me read this one here so you can understand how desperate our people are. Because when you see man robs priest during church service, and this is on Saturday, a man appeared to be deranged, walked into the Roman Catholic Cathedral, Brigham, located on Brigham, and robbed the officiating priest of his ring, chain, and Bible. Kaieteur News was made aware of the brazen robbery. Let me see here, by video, which surfaced on Facebook. In the video, the bandit, who is shirtless, entered the cathedral and walked up to the altar. He shouted the disarranged table, armed with a knife, walked up to the priest. He grabbed the man's arm, took off his ring, snatched his chain. He stole the Bible before storming out of the cathedral. Why would you steal the Bible? To pray that you have just spoken about it. So at the end of the day, okay, yes. So you go put them on. We have a shocker here today. Do you remember a guy by the name of Dr. Mahadeo? Well, Dr. Mahadeo is going to be joining us with Zoom in a very short while. So we have a packed day. Dr. Mahadeo. Then we have Dr. Vishwa Mahadeo. He is the Director General in the Ministry of Health. Remember, you guys would have asked about some of the things, drug shortages and so on, some services that's coming in the health sector. Well, he is going to be with us just after 1:30 there. So you have a very packed day. I did promise you to start bringing on people. Let's talk. Let's move this thing. It's too much of talk from Gildarie. And so this man here just robbed this priest here. So it's an interesting case. President Ali excludes GT Mayor from reclaim ceremony. I'm not sure. Okay. Caught on camera, man hides away in store, carries out late night shopping. I think this is on Rob Street there, that she hid in the store, and then carried out, decide to rob her. She's been handed over to the police because they found her. Secret documents from officer of the president reveal GGMC knew initial Kanji owner was penniless, but give it the block anywhere. So this company didn't have any money to do anything, but yet they received it. And what part of the world could something like this happen? Are we crazy? What are we doing? What are we doing as a people in Guyana? While our people, we have the possibility of selling these oil blocks, of getting money for them, for our people to be able to really enjoy themselves. And here's the good news. I understand, I saw a photograph recently about, is he on? Thank you. So it's not Yog, it's Dr. Vishwa Mahadeo. Yog is going to be with us on Friday, I understand. He says that he wants to come on. He says to tell the people that he's been thinking about it, and let's see where it goes. So he's going to be with us on Friday. Dr. Vishwa Mahadeo is going to be with us in a very short while. There's a lady that turns 100 today, Ram Dalari Ram Kelwan, and she's from El Legwan Esquibo. She's celebrating 100 years. Don't normally say that, but when you reach 100, you will be mentioned here. And I understand that we have one of the oldest person in the Caribbean, and she is from one of the Amerindian indigenous people tribes in the hinterlands there, 111 years. I did see an ID card with her, and it looks indeed true. Government to clamp down on employees who breach labor laws. Government through the Ministry of Labor will be clamping down on business owners who are not in compliance with the labor laws of Guyana. This will see any business owner found guilty of a breach being prosecuted to the full extent of the law, according to Chief Labor Officer Charles Ogle. Only question that I have here, why now? Why didn't you go this all the time? That's your mandate. But in any case, it's good news to hear that you guys are all, doing this stuff. We should not be hearing this. What you should be telling us, we've arrested 3 people or 10 people or 10 employees because of the X, Y, Y, Z. So, when I see headlines like this, it gets me a little upset. What were you doing all the time? Sitting on your hands? So let us see what happens. So it is about 125, and let me tell you, we have a new WhatsApp number, a temporary WhatsApp number today that you could send us those texts to until we get the other one. The 622 622 is not working. Something with the GT&T or whoever it's handling there. But we do happen to have a new one, 6250323, 6250323, and of course our normal number 2267453. And just after about 1:30 or so thereabouts, we will be opening up the lines. But in the meantime, do we have the doc in the house already? Okay, he's not in the house, but he's going to be here just after 1:30. In the meantime, let me tell you some of the other things that is happening with regards to the police. Um, so this morning, somebody decided, let me see, somebody decided to go into a house of a businessman at Timeri, and I could read it to you what the police are saying. And he ended up dead. What is he doing in the man's house? I don't know. And the man's a businessman. So police are investigating an alleged shooting incident which occurred on 20/11/09 about 2:30. That's 2:30 this morning. And the businessman name is Mahadeo Rampasad 42 of Timeri Northeast Bank by a 26-year-old man. Is a male suspect of a Lions Road squat in area Timeri. So he's right in Timeri, decided to go into the man's home. Inquiries disclosed that Mahadeo Rampasad was in bed with his wife when he was awakened by a strange noise coming from his bedroom door. Rampasad made checks and saw his room door moving as if someone was trying to get in. The victim armed himself with his licensed shotgun and loaded 3 cartridges into the said shotgun. The victim opened the bedroom door and saw a shadow running outside. He gave chase and saw male going through the kitchen door. When the suspect saw the victim, he kept gesturing as if he was reaching for a weapon. Mahadeo eventually confronted the individual, trying to disarm him of his firearm, which resulted in a scuffle and a shot was fired. The suspect then ran into the dining area, and he kept moving his hands, which resulted in the victim firing another shot. The suspect then ran behind a wall and hid in a private room where the victim made checks. After the victim heard a strange noise behind the wall, he eventually fired a next shot, which passed through a wooden wall, hitting the suspect. The suspect fell flat on the floor in a horizontal position, trembling, and moments later he was motionless. The body was taken to the GPHC, where he was pronounced dead. I don't know what to say here except condolences to that man, because maybe he would get himself into trouble. I hope not. I hope this is not the case. The man comes into the house and he tried to think, so he has a gun to protect himself. In the past, if you shoot somebody, you end up in jail. In this case, a man comes into your house. What is he doing in your house? He didn't come to play Dolly House, did he? So it is 1:28 now, and we are going to be moving into in a very short while yes, 1 second please. So yes, okay, good. It is the insurance time, and let me tell you, let's get right down into it. If you want a better value for better protection, get your ship and cargo covered with us today. CARICOM General Insurance Company Inc. at 121 Regent and Arnock Streets to better serve you. You can now purchase your insurance online from the comfort of your home. Telephone 225-1787 or 269-0020. So very quickly, do we happen to have any callers? Okay, we have somebody coming into the studio. Okay, 1 second, please. So we happen to have Dr. Vishnu Mahadeo on the line at the moment, or he's in studio. He's in Zoom right now. Very good. It's always good to talk to Dr. Vishnu Mahadeo. Very good doctor, former regional official in Berbice there. Well, he's no stranger to Guyana. He's a parliamentarian as well. And guess what? Dr. Vishnu Mahadeo is the Director General in the Ministry of Health. And what does a Director General do? Well, he will be telling us in a very short while, because there's some other things that we want to talk about, including services to the people of Guyana, including quality of services to the people of Guyana. So as soon as he's ready, we are going to be hitting it. But in the meantime, I want you to send those messages to 625 0323. 625 0323. So our normal number 6222222 is not working today. So you could text us on 625 0323, and both WhatsApp as well as SMS. Today, I want to say welcome to Dr. Vishwa Mahadeo, our Director General in the Ministry of Health. Doc, how are you doing?
Hi, Leonard. Good day. I am like the weather.
You don't like the weather?
They say I am like the weather, bright and shiny.
Okay, okay. Because I thought if you're talking about the weather over the weekend, you're talking about the weather now.
Yeah, I just brought back some good weather for you guys. I was away over the last week and the weekend, so I brought some sunshine for you today.
But I understand you were in some hinterland areas. Well, we're going to talk about that. So, what exactly does the Director General do? Because I know it's a brand new position that has been, I understand it's a brand new position that has been created specifically to look at quality of service. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, actually, I am in the Ministry of Health, and my focus is mainly in the delivery of healthcare in the regions and looking at more at the periphery, and even in Georgetown, the 13 health centers that we have in Georgetown. So I am assisting the minister with delivery of care. And I think it is necessary because of the state in which we have picked this up.
When you talk about the state, sir, what do you mean exactly, state? What did this government find when it entered the office?
Where do I start? Okay, first of all, we found that there were no drugs and medical supplies in the system, very, very limited where it was at all. We found that the drugs and medical supplies that are in the system, over $780 million worth that were in drugs bond, were all expired. So all the complaints that we were getting previously about patients not getting medicines, basic medicines, including medicines for diabetes, hypertension, even pain medications, were true. We subsequently learned from the NPS that since 2017, centrally, no medicines were bought. And as such, we expected, I mean, if you're 2017 into 2020, that you would have shortages, and those that you would have bought since then would have been expired. So that was a major one. Equipment across the board were poorly maintained. We have equipment that we are learning that we learned that they were there lying in boxes, not installed. The typical example is the CT scan in New Amsterdam Hospital that was theirs, that came in the country since 2015. Something that was negotiated before that, and it wasn't installed basically, but we got that up and running within a month. So patients in Region 6 are now getting CT scans there. A lot of the equipment are out of order. Some of them old and just not replaced. Others are down for various reasons. A lot of them, quite a few, we have gotten fixed by just sending the biomedical engineers to have a look at them and to see what can be fixed. Now,
go ahead.
The other thing that we found is that there are several biomedical technicians, especially along the coast, and what they were doing, we don't know, because you ask them about the equipment and they're there and the equipment are not being serviced. So in addition to that, staff being demotivated, obviously, if you're not getting the equipment to work and you're not getting the medicines to treat patients with, you are going to be demotivated.
Okay,
so those are some things. Sorry?
So what you've painted there, Director, is a very worrisome picture of something that you inherited.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Leonard, don't forget that we also inherited a COVID situation. that we have only recently been getting the true picture. Because if you were not doing testing, you couldn't have known how many persons were infected.
Mm-hmm.
And whilst blame seems to be coming from people who are ill-informed, what I could say is that if people were infected, not knowing they were infected, they went about their merry way. They went into the different communities. So by the time we started doing testing across the board, basically across the country, um, the seeds of COVID were already spread throughout the country. And so that what we are reaping here right now is what was sown some time ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what we are going to find as we start doing more tests and when the antibody tests is being done, because the antibody test could tell you that whether somebody was infected, let us say up to 6 months ago. Antibody tests would reveal really how long ago persons were infected and recovered even. So what we are having, so we inherited a system that was really barely functioning, in some cases non-functional. I mean, I visited the hinterland location. I visited Region 9 along with Mr. Gabayo, who's the hinterland coordinator, and Dr. Utman,
Mm-hmm.
who's the RHO. We visited some of the facilities. And I'll tell you, I was just telling Dr. Griffith, who's working here as the Deputy Director, Regional Health Services, that some of the facilities you go there and the only seating facility that they have is a broken bench.
Wow.
Right? They don't have medicines, and they don't have, they have, and some of these facilities have no other communication available to them other than a radio set. The radio set is there, it's working. They have solar batteries, they have solar panels, and so that was there a long time ago. But the batteries have not been replaced, and so they have the equipment, and they cannot just for the need of batteries.
Mm. Somebody wasn't
Right.
paying
So,
attention.
well, obviously, health wasn't even on the burner. I was about to say that it was on the back burner, but it wasn't even on the burner, right? And so, the president has indicated that he has a particular interest in bringing health up to speed. He has indicated that his personal vision is that healthcare delivery across the country, whether it be in the coast or it be in the hinterland, everyone should get healthcare provided to them. He has indicated that he will support all initiatives and all drives to have health being delivered to everyone equally. So what we have been finding of recent is that the amount of Medivac that from the interior comes in the millions and millions of dollars, because you know what? Places like Aishaltan, where surgeries used to be done before,
Mm-hmm.
have not been surgery. You know, the hospital places that were deemed hospitals before are literally or have been functioning like a glorified health center.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these things, a lot of work has to be done. But I am optimistic that with the input and the passion that the president has, the passion that this government has, the passion that the Minister of Health has, that we will be able to turn around things in a short period. As you know, as your papers even would have carried, that we would have spent over $3 billion to purchase drugs and medical supplies.
Mm-hmm.
That should at least tide us over for a couple of months until the next budget is out that we could purchase. Now, those drugs and medical supplies are coming in, and it's as it is coming in, it is being distributed across the country. We are hoping that shortly everyone would have a relatively adequate supply, so that we'll be able to give to our people the meds that they really need. In addition to that, we are also looking at upgrading the level of staff that we have, providing training, making them a bit more comfortable and stuff like that. I don't have to tell you about the steps that the president and the government has taken in providing for the healthcare workers on the front line. And you would have also, being a man and knowing about the news, would also know that there are further plans for that.
Yes. Thank you very
So
much
in
for that.
short,
Good.
yeah, in short, Leonard, that is where we are. But what I'll take this opportunity also to talk about the good work that our guys have been doing with very limited resources, but the passion, their drive to deliver care to the people is unparalleled. Um, I spoke with the RHO in Region 9 and the regional chairman and the RE of Region 9. And we were discussing, as you know, Region 9 was a hot spot not so long ago, but they have managed to quite quickly
Mm-hmm.
bring it under control, and they're now having tight monitoring. The doctor explained some of the steps, and maybe sometime I'll get him to talk to you so you could share their story too.
Mm-hmm.
But there are villages, for example, where they were having some issues because of the culture, because of what people believe in, misinformation that was being spread, and the chairman stepped in personally, went to the village with the health staff, spoke to them, and convinced them what was needed to be done. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
the collaboration between the local politicians, the local authorities,
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
our health staff managed to bring it quickly under control. And we are seeing the same thing happening in Region 1 right now, and even in Region 4,
Well, that's good news. That's
right?
good news. The collaboration there.
Yeah, we're the health staff health staff in Region 1. They're working closely with the chairman, the RU, the vice chairman there. They're going out together and they're getting all the support they need.
Thank you very much for that, Director. I want to ask you, I want to bring you quickly, sir, because I know you said that you were very busy, and we really appreciate. I know the Guyanese people are looking forward to hear. They're hungry for news, especially with regards to what's happening in the health sector. One of the things I know that you're very passionate about is the quality of our healthcare services. We have been receiving some number of complaints, especially in Surrey and the West Demerara there. Two things people complain about. Like one man says that he had to take bandages. They told him we don't have any bandages in stock, so they were asking for bandages. But one other big complaint that they're talking about, in addition to the shortage of insulin and so on, they're also complaining about some attitude of some workers, and this would be even from the security guard to a little receptionist. I want to put that before you and probably hear from you if this is something that's engaged in the health ministry, and two, are we likely to see some rapid improvements to that situation?
Leonard, I'm glad that you raised that. What I could tell you, Minister has been visiting facilities. I have been visiting facilities. We have been visiting with teams. We are listening to all the complaints. And I personally, let me put it this way, I personally have instructed all the RHOs that they need to investigate each and every complaint that they get. And I would like to advise the public that you have a right. Every facility is going to have a suggestion box. You could
Yes.
make your suggestions, you could make your complaints anonymously, right? And every facility, we are eventually going to set up for every facility a health management committee, which would be the link between the community and the facility.
Mm-hmm.
And they will also investigate every single complaint. Now, recently we saw on Facebook a complaint about a patient in Region 3. As soon as that complaint was seen, I contacted the RHO, Dr. Fort, who was already on top of it,
Mm-hmm.
got the number of the individual, made contact with the individual, and is investigating it. So we are not going to allow the people who have valid and issues that they are complaining about. We need their input so that we'll be able to improve the system, but make sure that the complaints are not frivolous, that they are truthful. Only then we could be able to improve the system. Now, we have had meetings with the REOs of Region 3, for example, of Region 6, for example. We have had meetings with them, and they are all on board with this. We are not going to tolerate incompetence. We are not going to tolerate any negativity to the public.
Mm-hmm.
I always say that we are public servants. We are not public masters.
Thank
And
you
we
for
have got
that.
to behave in that way to serve the people. That is what we do. That is what each one of us, doctors, nurses, we would have taken an oath to serve. So, Leonard, I know that you have been sending previously, you would have sent, when someone complains to you, you tell them to call, and that's okay. But I'd like everyone to know that the RHOs, the medical superintendents, the managers, the administrators of all these facilities, they have to be on board, and you have a right to talk to them. You have a right to ask questions. You have a right to receive responses. The other thing is, whenever we get a complaint, the principle is, and I've said this to all, if someone makes a complaint, you don't just listen to the complaint and deal with it. You give a feedback to the complainant to let them know what were your findings.
That's
and
correct.
what steps would be taken to improve the system. Now in Region 3, Leonard, what we are doing, we have put Dr. Smith in charge of the Leonora Hospital, which, to be blunt, was basically non-functional. So she is in charge here. We are doing some retrofitting there, and we are going to focus on improving healthcare delivery there, focusing a lot on maternal deliveries, maternal and child health. Other services will also be offered there. In addition to that, in Region 3, we'll have doctors visiting. So previously, they had a high-risk clinic for the pregnant women once per week, only in Breeden Hoop. So people got traveled from all over to come to Breeden Hoop. Well, we'll be taking that to all the different areas in Region 3. So there are lots of things, Leonard, that we need to talk about. And as we make improvements, and I could tell you this, the Honorable Minister of Health has been demanding from everyone that we move forward and we move forward quickly. His Excellency, the President of Guyana, has stated his policy clearly. Whatever needs to be done, we have to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Because for too long, people have been neglected. For too long, healthcare has been allowed to fall, and it has reached a stage where it is now unbearable, and we need to bring it up and bring it up quickly. So I would like to ask also that when you get complaints,
Mm-hmm.
when your station, your radio station, or your newspaper get complaints, please pass them on to us.
Thank you very much. I
And
will definitely do that.
we will deal with it, and we will also give a feedback as to how we would have dealt with it, what we would have done, and what systems we would have put in place to prevent it from reoccurring.
Thank you very much, dear Director General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Vishnu Mahadeo. So I want to ask you two cases very quickly, and people are texting us like crazy here. One, is there any plans by the government to probably assist a little more? I know that our resources are stretched thin right now, but assist a little more with the dialysis patients. It's very expensive. And secondly, a man called me this morning, I think from Saudi Hospital. He says he went there to do an extraction, and sometime, and this happens in Borbis too, people call me and says they go to do an extraction and tell them to come back days later. That's because nothing is doing. Nobody extracts anything. So they just check you. He says he's a smoker, and they says because he's smoking, stop smoking for a couple of days, then come back. And he says his tooth was hanging on by just a little thread or something, and they refuse to look at him. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor, so I can't tell you whether what he's saying there it's whether they're supposed to intervene right there or they tell him to come back a couple of days. But I have two scenarios there. One, the dialysis, and the other one that person said to me. Anyway, you could address them.
Okay, with the dialysis, we know that the minister only recently commissioned another dialysis machine. Berbice, they are doing dialysis. And in Georgetown, we are doing, and the Ministry of Health also helps to helps persons to get their dialysis um, done, helps with the cost.
Uh,
There is a limit to which we could go,
right.
but we do help, right?
Uh,
And I'm sure, well, the principle is that we are hoping to, if we are hoping to have equitable health care, that one day we'll be able to do it across the board. But like you said, one of the major constraints would be finances.
right,
But
right.
gradually we are getting there. The other issue with the region two, one that is new to me, so I'll advise the person to contact the RHO, Dr. Ranjiv Singh,
Ranjit Singh,
right? His number is 685-7745. To
7744.
contact him with the issues that they may have in Region 2. But what I'd like to say also is that one of the persons who visited with us in Region 9 was Dr. Sullivan, who's heading the dental program in Guyana. The direction in which we are going is not to do extractions, because if we continue doing extractions, then we'll have a nation without teeth.
Mm-hmm.
The direction in which we are going is to save the teeth as much as possible. Of course, there are some that would have gone so bad that you cannot. Maybe that was one of the cases that the gentleman complained about. But we are heading in that direction. The other complaint that we would have gotten, and I'm saying this publicly, is that the dental departments by and large function half day. Now that is not tolerated, and it will not be tolerated. They should function from morning to the afternoon, maybe offering different services in the morning and different services in the afternoon. There are no shortages of filling materials. There are no shortages of dental needles or dental anesthesia, as far as Dr. Sullivan has said. And so there should be no excuses. If the equipment is down, well, then we need to know, and it will be fixed. Right now, Dr. Sullivan is going around the country, sorting out, finding out where the equipment is not working and trying to get it fixed. Of course, there are places where we'll need to buy new ones because the old ones were left there and not serviced, and some of them are barely functioning. But as it stands, dental services will have to be offered for the entire day. And not only that, but there will need to be dental outreaches. So there are areas like Oriala, Siparuta, some hinterland communities where these services have not been offered for the longest while. And so we have the portable dental chairs, and dental teams will be set up to visit these places and to, again, carry out the mandate of His Excellency, the President of Guyana, to provide health care across the board to every single Guyanese.
Well, Doc, let me tell you, it has been a pleasure talking to you as always. And let me tell you the good thing that I feel about this is when we engage our people and allow them to understand what's the reality on the ground, so that people could have an understanding. Because for the normal man in the street, they're seeing something happen, so they raise these issues. And we appreciate that you have given cast light on the exact situation that's happening on the ground. And by extension, the radio station, of course, would want to continue to invite you. I know that you've been very open, and you says you want to educate our people, and you are going to be always try to be available. I know that you're very busy, so the radio station is available to the Ministry of Health, especially this particular program from time to time. If every week you want to come, feel free. We are going to be available here, and if there's anything that you want to say in closing, we'd appreciate it. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Leonard. Thank you for having me. And I'd just like to say that to deliver the kind of healthcare that we want to deliver, it has to be a collaborative effort. We cannot do it alone. We need the media, but more than all, more than anything else, we need the people out there. We could give tablets or injections to patients. If they don't use it as they're supposed to, it's not going to make a difference. It would harm them more than help them. We could give a diabetic, for example, the best treatment, and if they do not observe a diet and if they do not exercise, is not going to make a difference. So the only way we could have a healthy nation is by us all collaborating together. I would say the government of Guyana, His Excellency the President, the Vice President of Guyana, the entire cabinet, the Minister of Health, we are all committed to providing the best care we can. And together, we can. So let us work together. Thank you for having me, Leonard. You
Thank
have a great day.
you too, sir. Thank you very much. And that would have been the Director General Minister of Health, Dr. Vishnu Mahadeo. It's always a pleasure, sir. Until then, and to you and your team and to the government as well, have a pleasant rest of the day. So in the meantime, while we say goodbye to Dr. Vishnu Mahadeo, the Director General of the Ministry of Health there, and he would have been updating us as to what are some of the things and the reality on the ground. He would have made a case there, when they went in, it's significant since about 2, 3 years now, there would not have been any major order for drugs. And that's why people are complaining about the basic shortages of things like insulin and bandages and even some diabetes tablets and so on. They're missing from the whole equation there. So he says going forward, many persons complaining about the attitude of people, security people, even nurses and so on. Well, there is a remedy for that. The Director General is saying go to the hospital, the administration, you have the regional health officers. You could complain, you have that right, and he's saying that you have to partner with the government to make it happen, and which is a good thing because we actually having an open door kind of policy that's being perpetuated by the government here. Having said that, he's also saying that it's all up to the people of Guyana as we go forward as a country. It's all up to you to make sure that whenever they give to you the medication, that you also try to balance it with a healthy lifestyle. If you don't exercise and you're eating and you're eating the wrong thing, you're diabetic and so on, and you're not supposed to eat too much of rice, cool your head down. You have to make sure that you do the right thing, that you protect yourself, you protect your life, and by doing so, you allow the medicine to work. You can't go to the hospital all the time. When you wait until the last moment to take in, as I say, the old people would say, or Guyanese people would say, you take in and they take you to the hospital, that's because you've been doing things wrong. So what you have to do, if you're drinking, you're diabetic and you're drinking alcohol, it ain't gonna do you any good. So make sure that you do the right thing, which is have a healthy lifestyle. You try to the bad thing about Gildarie is that Gildarie don't have enough time to sleep. So many things to do, but I try to push in those hours. I try to sleep as much as I can, but I'm up in the morning. I go to bed very late in the night. But you should push in those hours. Make sure that you eat your vegetables and as much as you can. Do not try to eat too much of meat. There's a lot of fish that is in the air. If you can afford it, try to do that. But at the same time, don't do anything that is going to make the situation worse, including, drinking alcohol, smoking, and those kind of things that is going to put you in a very bad way. So we are moving on to it's almost 2 o'clock at the moment. It is the insurance time. Better value for better protection. Get your ship and cargo covered us today. CARICOM General Insurance Company, Inc. 121 Regent in Ornock Street. To better serve you, you can now purchase your insurance online from the comfort of your home. Telephone 225-1787 or 269-0020. CARICOM General Insurance Company, Inc. You tuned into the Wake Up Guyana show here on Kaieteur Radio. I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie, and you could also get us on Kaieteur Radio, Facebook, or Kaieteur Radio live stream, YouTube. So in the meantime, we coming to you live from our studio here in Charleston. We coming to you on 99.1 in Esquibo and Demerara. And if you're in Berbice, it's 99.5. So wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing, we happen to have a temporary message number or WhatsApp number or SMS number right now. 625-003-0323. Sorry, let me go back that. 625-0323. 625-0323. It's also on the screen. We want to hear those messages from you. We'd rather read those messages from you. We could be able to get a couple right now. Let's read a couple here. Contractor Ramatire employed by GPL are doing a very untidy and incomplete job in the lower quarantine area, changing the lantern posts and dropping them into those small drains, and also pieces of electrical wires are thrown all over the place and they just leave. They take off street lights to do their work and not refitting them, and they leave. Also, some GPL workers are installing new meters, are doing a very untidy job, wasting the PVC material, cutting them and fitting them in anyhow manner. And there's somebody complaining all the way from Burbies. So what's happening, Contractor Ramata? You have your say. Also, what is your side of the story? Please let us. Okay, somebody was asking the plans for the dialysis patient. It's too expensive. People are dying because they can't afford it. Better medical employment, especially at labs every month. The right medication like phosphate binders. Thank you very much. Thank you, dear, from that listener, viewer. Somebody stole my father document and passport along with mine. Can you announce it on radio? The names are Puran Mal Hardat and Yogeshwar Hardat, along with business registration. Stole it from his boss. They were all in a brown bag. Our numbers are 625-1671, 625-1671, or 633-1732 if it has been found. Thank you very much for that. In a little while, we're going to take a very short diversion from our normal programming today, which we take a lot of calls. That's because there's a gentleman in the room here that I want to have a chat with. He's none other than a man named Lall, no stranger to Guyana, publisher of Kaieteur newspaper, and of course he's the director owner of the Kaieteur radio as well. But when he's seated in that seat where he's about to sit, he's not the boss anymore. I'm the boss here. So let's have a chat with him today. I would have seen him on the radio program last night, the Lall show. And if you missed it, it's very, very simple for you to be able to get it back. You go to the Kaieteur radio on Facebook, or Kaieteur radio live stream on YouTube, and you should not miss that show. If you've missed it, you've missed something very, very great in terms of enlightening yourself, educating yourself. So, Mr. Lall, welcome, sir. I did promise the folks weeks back that I'm going to bring you on this program here, and finally you've been able to make it. Why a Lall show, sir?
Why a Lall show? Good afternoon, folks, right across Guyana, wherever you are. I thank you for joining us, and I also thank you for listening to us. I hope that with my little bits here, you can learn, or we can also share. I can learn from you as to where Guyana is heading and where we should be as a people with the kind of wealth we have. Last night I was on the show, and I think that I went overboard a little, getting upset, getting annoyed. But I promised myself not to be like that anymore. I'll be calm, I'll be collective, and I'll take it one step at a time. Gildarie?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. You ask why the Lall show. I have been in this business, in the newspaper business, for 26 years. I have brought newspaper. I have changed the landscape of the newspaper industry. And I have been the leader. It wasn't an easy task, but I did it. And every day you're part of our editorial meeting for a number of years. And you would hear me lecture, hear me expound, hear me discuss our daily stories in which we would be giving the nation the following day. And you know how I feel on issues of matters that speaks to the core of people's life. I have seen over the years in this business the immoralities, the dirtiness, the nastiness, the uncaringness, every word you can find in the dictionary to describe how our leaders, whatever they do, when they do it, they just do everything not in the best interest of the people of this country. And it irks, it irritates, it gets me on my nerve, and you guys see that every day. And we discuss that every day. For this reason, you guys would have also been a driving force to have me want to come on the radio. I want to speak to Guyana. I want to speak directly to the people of this country so that they can understand exactly what is taking place in this land. Writing stories in the newspapers, having big, bold headlines in the newspapers daily, and phone calls coming to my ears does not bode well. It does not tell me that, you know what, Guyanese are reading and understanding what is taking place in their country. What I mean, Gildarie, is that there are several people who cannot afford a newspaper. There are those who can afford a newspaper, read and can understand. And there are many who reads the newspaper daily and doesn't understand what they read. Hence, I have took that into consideration and says, no, Glenn Lall. You have to get on the radio there and talk to the people of this country. And here I am, ready and willing to talk to you. You have questions, let me know. I want to help answer those questions. If there are questions I cannot answer, my fellow Guyanese, I am here to seek answers and get back to you with the kind of answers for the questions you may or may not have. But I want to have a discussion with the people of this country. I want to have a one-on-one discussion with the people so that they can understand that they are living in a country that is far richer than Dubai. I just said last night on the radio that my friend from Suriname, who has a radio, television, and newspapers, when I was telling him the deal we got from the Stabroek block with ExxonMobil, the man said to me, Glenn Lall, please, I am begging you, stop telling me, stop telling people, get on the radio and let the nation know what you got. And he is the one who came up with that, telling me, Glenn Lall, all over Suriname and the region is talking about Guyana, this new Dubai. And when I told him, I said, no, it's not the new Dubai with the deals with what we got, my friend. It's the new Dumbai. And he gave me a word in Hindi that I cannot pronounce it because we were having a drink. And I asked Gildarie to find me that word in Hindi. That means the same Dumbai. We have Raj here. Raj, you know? No? What is the word? Dubai, Dumbai, and he added a word that carries the same tone, the same ring. In Hindi means the same thing, Dumbai. So here I am, Guyana. I am here with you. I am here to talk with you. I want to listen to you, and I guess you can listen to me. Let's get going, Gildarie. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zio, and very well said, Mr. Lall. And you know, we would have been seated here, but I want to bring you back to what you would have said this afternoon. A businessman, newspaper, you're putting it all on the line, sir. What does this mean if you could get it right for Guyana?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. If we could get it right, I would probably swing that question. It's not about if we will get it right. We have to get it right. We will get it right. That's my promise. We have to get it right, Gildarie. We must. This is not a free for all. This country does not belong to just a few people. There are few politicians who think that they can just grab up and just transfer and hide our wealth. Our wealth, I repeat, our wealth, the people's wealth. They will not be allowed to do that. I will never sit back anymore and allow them to do the things they did. Both the PPP, the PNC, and the AFC. I cannot handle them. You ask what it means for me? It will bring joy. It will bring comfort. It will give me happiness when I see the people out there, their lives change.
So you heard it from his own mouth, the man Glenn Lall, and he's saying that he is willing and he has already started using the newspaper and the radio to educate the people of Guyana, to uplift the people of Guyana, to make them aware of what is it that we have and what are the possibilities. So one of the things that in the past, when we would have started the newspaper, that is Kaieteur newspaper, started waging this war, and I say it's a war because you're taking on a transnational company here, the big boys in the game, some of the biggest company in the world, and here it is, a little droplet, a little newspaper has really changed things up. It's managed to do that over the years. And you know what is at stake here. I could recall that you also bought in some international exports, flew them in, put them up in hotels so you could be able to educate your staff and even some other stakeholders, people who are interested. Are you ever going to give up?
Give up is not within my vocab. Give up is not within my genetical makeup. That's not a word we should ever use. Like I said, I love people, I love mankind, and I feel happy every day when I can see people live and live a good life, when people can eat and eat healthy, when people can enjoy what really belongs to them. You said I take on big giants and the PPP and the PNC and the AFC. I am not taking on these people. What I'm taking on is the right thing. When people set about to rob you, when people set about to cheat you, when people set about to take away what is rightly yours, what belongs to you, I don't think you need a Glenn Lall to stand up and say, hey, guys, this thing is wrong. You cannot do that. We have to be treated equally and fairly. What belongs to me should be for me. You cannot walk in my home and pick up my wardrobe and walk away with it. Nobody accepts and allows that. Anybody who accepts and allows that, my friend, is a complete moron.
And I think, Mr. Lall, in during our meetings, and so I'm trying to put it in as layman's language as possible. During our meetings, Mr. Lall would have a lot of stories, analogies to tell us about what this thing is like. So, Mr. Lall, in very simple language, could you tell the people of Guyana what this really means? I think you always use the word backyard. And I want you to tell the people in a simple language as possible what this really means, what is happening here with this oil and gas sector and the giveaway and the takeaway and the pirated attempts. You tell us what it means in your language.
In my language, what is happening in the oil sector, Gildarie? What has already happened with the Stabroek block, that huge block?
That Exxon is operating.
That Exxon was able to outmaneuver, outsmart our leaders with, and to which they have in their possession. The deal as we see it, it's a done deal. That's a done deal. There's not much we can garner out from it, but try the other sector within the business to garner, to pull in a few dollars, meaning we can work towards the local content issues in which we can draw back some money. But where you talk about the 2%, the less than 2% royalty, that's done. That's done with. The 50-50 profit sharing, well, I should touch on profit sharing, because I keep hearing this word all the time. And I keep hearing this thing from people that I just don't want to believe that I'm hearing it out of their mouth. I am hearing 50-50 profit sharing from business people. And I said, my God, no, I am not dealing with business people who are that stupid to tell me that they believe in profit sharing. And I tell you this because, Gildarie, having grown up in business, I know what is profit sharing. I have offered the Kaieteur news staff profit sharing, and they refuse to take it. They refuse to take it because I explained to them, when I finish at the end of the year, instead they get profit, the company will owe Lall. And they were able to understand how I can cook the books, how I can cheat the books, to fix the book in such a way that there is no profit at the end of the year. So only a moron thinks about and talks about profit sharing. Guyana, you should not even ever use that slang, profit sharing. It's an impossibility. But these are the kind of contractual arrangements fools fall for, profit sharing. Look back at some of the countries that these oil companies went into, and all the oil companies, all the countries asked for, of course, the smart ones, say, listen, don't talk to me on profit. Give me my royalty. Off the top of the barrel, give me that. I want that. Profit sharing is not for me. You keep that for yourself. I don't need that. But our leaders, our third world leaders, they fall for profit sharing. And I should mention this thing. We have the head of the oil company, Dr. Baino. A matter of fact, I saw him in the front page that Mr. Jagdeo is planning to remove him. Well, I really wouldn't want to comment on that, but I'll tell you this. He came here on this radio program, and he came to my office, and we had a simple few minutes discussion. And we talk about the 2% and the 50-50 profit sharing. And I asked him, he is the one who talked about it. And I was like, no, Mr. Baino, you did not say that. And the way you said it, it did not came from your mouth. I told him, I said, you are talking about profit sharing in this oil sector in Guyana? You're boasting about that? And he's like, well, you know, Chief, yeah. You cannot reduce it. You cannot take that away. It's in the contract, 50-50. So my question to him was very simple. And this you need to understand. I asked him, I said, could you then, please, I am begging you, Dr. Baino, name one country in this world that has benefited from profit sharing in the oil industry. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Guyanese, it has been over a year. I would have sent that man umpteen messages reminding him to just tell me, disclose to me, one country that he knew of that gained in profit sharing in the oil business, in the oil sector. To date, I am still waiting. Hence, I have decided to announce that. So maybe somebody will tell him that Lall is still waiting on that answer. And I am not challenging Dr. Baino alone. I want to challenge the entire oil department. I want to challenge the PPP, the PNC, and the AFC to come and speak, hold a press conference and talk about, name a country on earth. Or ask ExxonMobil to tell us which country has benefited from profit sharing in the oil industry. Thank you. Let's move on.
Thank you very much, Zir. And you know what? Mr. Lall says you're willing to take some calls, sir?
Any call. Any
All right.
call.
Well, look, we're going to take on Mr. Lall today here. He has a lot of answers, and we have the questions. 226-7453. I'm going to open the lines here now, and you could call him, ask him anything, and he's willing to answer. And if he doesn't have the answer, he's going to come back to you. We're going to come back to you. 226-7453. And we also have our WhatsApp number here, 625-0323. That's a temporary one. The other one that happens to be done. We're working very hard at it. 625-0323. Send us those WhatsApp as well as the SMS. And right now, 226-7453. Do you have a call in line? Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gildarie. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. You have Mr. Lall here too.
Huh?
You have Mr. Glenn Lall here too.
Great.
Good.
Mr. Glenard, good afternoon to you too, sir.
Good afternoon.
This is Councillor Ori McDougall from Port Morant,
Yes, sir.
Chance, NDC.
Mm-hmm. Talk to us.
So, I heard the issue of the last overseer being aired on your radio program last Friday concerning her termination for malpractices with fraudulent intent, stealing, so to speak, in one word. I'd like to verify it for transparency because I was not on the radio last Friday. I didn't hear it, but just to let it be known that the ex-overseer Acton was terminated based on the protocols of the Public Service Rules, number 35 in the Offenses and Penalties section, which is malpractice with fraudulent intent. A decision was made by the council to terminate the overseer acting according to protocol, and the council's decision was made. If anyone has any questions or they want to oppose that, they could go right ahead. But we are not allowing any pilfering anymore. We are very vigilant at the NDC concerning our monies, and also we're going to be strong enough to make a council's decision without any political interferences in our decision-making processes.
All right. Thank you very much. You have any question, Mr. Lall, with regards to the oil?
No, I'm far from the radio. I didn't hear him on the radio.
All right.
I had a second point with the authenticating of the GPL problems.
All right. Could you call back a little because we will be specifically dealing with the oil today?
Absolutely, Mr. Gildarie.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Lall, the news is now breaking. Dr. Mark Bino, I think Mr. Mark Bino has been fired by the government as of today. That's coming out. He has been handed his letter of termination.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he can't answer the question.
Yeah, well,
or come on the radio and let's talk about that.
Absolutely.
Because he was quiet. Gildarie, let's talk a little on what's in the newspapers today. You see, because of the economic crunch, not many people are capable of buying newspapers. The circulation has dipped. I don't want to tell you the rest of the papers, but it has dipped, and it's a COVID. So for those who cannot afford to buy the newspaper, who is not in any way can read the newspaper, you can go online and read it too. And for those who doesn't understand what is in the newspaper, I'd like you to take your daily programs and let's talk about it. Let's talk what's in the newspaper. Let's try to simplify and let's try to educate the public who can listen to us, who has a radio and who's driving here and there. We have, so let's get going. We talk about Demerara oil block. The headline is CGX breach contract, but coalition government still approved the extension for 3 more years. You understand that? This Demerara oil block was granted by the PPP to Professor Suresh Narayan. These contractual arrangements between government and oil players, Suresh Narayan did not meet the contractual obligation. But guess what? They had 4 years sitting on these blocks, and the contract says to give back the goddamn block. But instead, they keep it. They go to the APNU government, the coalition government, and got them to extend the life of the blocks in their hand. Have no cash, have no anything. And our oil field is sitting in their hands that worth billions of American dollars, and these guys just sit there holding it, dancing with it, looking for outside market to see how much they can get out of our oil block. Now, you talk to me, Gildarie. You answer me these type of questions.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
You're a businessman, sir, right? Yeah. Next door neighbor has oil. You have a block that maybe has oil. What if you don't do your or you don't carry out your contractual obligations? Why would I allow you to hold on to those blocks? What are the conclusions here?
Yeah, that's a beautiful question. You want me have hire a couple of attorney?
Yes.
No, I can't. I don't have money to hire any attorney to go before any courts for this. You read between the lines, and you will understand what is playing out here with our leaders. You have another story that's on the front page. Secret documents from Office of the President reveal GGMC new initial kanji owner was penniless, but give it the block anyway. Give the damn blocks anyway.
Again, I'm going to ask you the question. Why would you do that? You're the businessman, I'm asking.
I am the businessman.
Right.
Let me ask you this. You take an oil block, you give it to a man that has no finances. He has no commitment to the contractual arrangement. None whatsoever. This man was supposed to do a seismic survey. Seismic survey is a term used in which they
You have to do some studies.
yeah, no, you measure the waves.
Right.
You measure the waves deep down in the ocean to tell you.
What is there?
It's the exploration process
Right.
you use to find out if you got oil, you got this or you got that. No. The man didn't have no money to do that. Now, you still giving a man a whole oil block?
You like the man?
What's going on there?
You got to be like I like you.
No, it's not like. I don't know what it is. But, Gildarie, if you go home and one of your car is gone, and you find out from your wife, where's my car? Where's the Lexus? And she said, she give it away. Somebody have it. When you find out who have it, is a man who has no money to even buy fuel to drive it. The man doesn't even have a driver's license. But this man gone with your vehicle. And the next thing you know, you hear the man selling the vehicle by parts, the wheels, the windscreen. What is going on here? And he's allowed to keep that money. You tell me what's going on there, bro. I can't answer these questions. They baffled my mind sometimes.
I'm about to leave this show and go home in a very short while. But what you hear in there is some very serious conclusions that are likely to be not likely to be made, but are to be made because it baffles the mind, to use a very wonderful term by Lall that was put out there, made famous the other day. When it comes to how do you explain some of the decisions that are being taken? You're the one, as the regulator that's sitting there, supposed to take decisions based. Do you have the wherewithal? That's a big word, right?
That's right.
Do you have the financial capabilities? Do you have the experience? Do you have the personnel who's going to push you to do this? Do you have the equipment? If you don't have it, you don't have anything. You don't have any money. Penniless is the word that the penniless is the word that they use. Then why would I give it to you? So in essence, lots of questions being asked here. The newspaper is asking it. Mr. Lall.
As to the kanji block, given they knew, GGMC says in the document, they knew that Mid-Atlantic owners were broke, had no money. They said they know of a company who's partnering with them that may have some cash. You hear that? May have the capability or the capacity to carry out with the work. And they say, okay, we'll give them. It turned out that both companies, it turned out that the kanji block was given days before election. And weeks after election, the same block was transferred to the company that the people say have the cash to carry out the surveys and the contractual obligations, only to find out weeks after the people that's selling the blocks on the market. What is going on there, bro? How do we explain that?
According to one lady, and it looked as if his wife is a sweet man, end up with a Lexus.
Oh.
I can't explain it. I went so far in school, sir.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some conclusions to be made there. I'm not sure whether our friend there has any idea what we're talking about. But it is, you tune into the Wake Up Guyana show here on Kaieteur Radio. We're coming to you live from our Saffron Street studio. We have Mr. Lall, publisher of Kaieteur News, as well as the director, owner of Kaieteur Radio. And he's answering questions as to why oil and gas. Why should we be angry about it? Why should we get ourselves worked up about it? Mr. Lall, I want you to draw a parallel here. We're talking pensions. A lot of people call in and they're talking $25,000. They're talking about shortages of medicine in the office here. What does it mean, this oil and gas? Get it right.
This is more sickening when you read every day. When you see, when we have to discuss issues that the minister is going to share $25,000 to COVID patients, that the hospital doesn't have medication, people doesn't have food to eat. This thing just sick your soul to know the kind of wealth we have, and people are still snatching bags and gold chain in the streets. My friend, the kind of wealth we unearthed, the kind of wealth we have out there, like I said last night, that the guy said every one of us should be driving a Mercedes-Benz. Instead, the leaders, them, I believe, collected their Mercedes-Benz and their Lexuses, and they leave you and me and the people out there to continue snatching chains and umbrellas from our brothers and sisters, meaning that they would have sold us out. Because there's no way, with the kind of wealth we have in this land, Gildarie, we should be begging for painkillers for our elders in this society. It is madness. It is unthinkable. It is unbelievable. It is unmatchable to understand that with the kind of wealth we have.
And of course, we would have seen what would have happened with the pandemic and everything. But there are some callers I think want to get through. So today we want to talk about oil and gas because we have Mr. Lall in the house. We should not miss him. Why is it that we're using the newspaper? Why is it that we're using the radio to send the message, to uplift our people, to enlighten them, to educate them? That those are the questions that are being asked at the moment. So it is 226-7453. Do we have a caller on the line? We're talking oil today. Good afternoon, caller. You on the air. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Mr. Lall. I've been learning a lot from the Kaieteur News about the oil blocks and the oil deals that we got. And two of the things that came to mind to me over the period of time, one of them is how can our private sector bodies say on television that this is a good deal, when from my layman's position it isn't. Secondly, I would like to understand how could I be in business with Mr. Lall to receive 50% profit. I am never there. I don't know how much he's paying for papers. I don't know what part he had to tip. How do I know at the end of the year when he give me $10, there's 50% of the profit? So, Mr. Lall, how do we get this right? How do we fix this? How do we get this deal to work in our behalf? Is there some way we can get people to be there, to see what is being done, especially with this deal at Stabrook that is already done? Is a 50%, to which you see the expenditure and the profits of ExxonMobil on our behalf.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that question. That's a very beautiful question. It's a tough question too. As for the Private Sector Commission getting out there and talking about a good deal, what a great deal. I think we need to look back at those people. What are their agendas, or where they want to lean their head, or what is there for them? When I mean there for them, where they're hanging their hats. All right? I can't speak for that, but I can certainly tell you, my friend, that you asked the question, how can we maximize that 50-50 profit sharing? That would be a very difficult task. Like you said, if I don't show you how much I pay for newsprint when the month come. Or if I keep that away from you, if I inflate that on you, then you know what will happen to you. But in the difference between Lall and the Kaieteur News and the oil companies, my friend, it is a trillion times worse, listen to me carefully, worse than Lall just hiding his newsprint costs, his ink costs, his distribution costs, his labor cost. Listen to me. I cannot hide that, because our government can go, the tax boss can go and call my company in the US or in Mexico or in Brazil and say, listen, you have been supplying Lall with newsprint. Could you confirm that you have been selling him for, let's say, $600 a metric ton? Guyana government can do that. So then they can verify and track my expenditure as to my profit. I hope you understand me clearly. But listen what is happening in the oil industry. And this is where it is sick to the core of people's heart. The oil companies, they are allowed to do business. They are allowed to purchase. They are allowed to spend whatever they spend. Let me give an example so you understand. They buy 10,000 pipelines out of Gibraltar in the British islands. They give us a bill of 1 million US per piece. We cannot, because where they purchase it from, Guyana cannot go there in Gibraltar to find out how much ExxonMobil pay for these pipelines. Meaning ExxonMobil is doing business with secretive nations who protect only their clients and their customers. So Barajagde or Irfan Ali or Joe Harman cannot call them to verify that. So whatever bill is handed to you, to hand it to us, you better believe, you better accept it and shut your mouth. It is as simple as that. So how can you get profit? You tell me what kind of profit you can get when you can't verify my spending. Over to you, my friend.
Thank you very much, dear sir. I want to ask you, another elephant in the room here. Many persons would have been saying that there is a contract on the table or contracts on the table, and contracts are sacred, sacrilege, signed in blood. How do we deal with that issue? Because taking into account it was Keith Rowley, the former leader of the leader of Trinidad, the prime minister, who would have said, if we have a deal and it benefits one person, is it a good deal? Over to you, sir.
And thank you, Gildarie. That's a nice question too. A contract, the word they use, and I keep using that word, is sanctity of contract.
Yes, sanctity.
Sanctity of contract. What it means, for those who don't understand that word, it means that contract, long ago, when you sign a contract, they say you sign in blood. It means it's signed in blood. You can't change it. But my friends, fellow Guyanese, I don't think so. I don't think in this modern day and age, we would have leaders signing contracts in stone, that's set in stone. I don't know who does that, but I don't want to go there. The question is, how can we talk and how can we correct, if we can, such a contract? I don't know the answer, but I'll follow the advice of the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, a man named Keith Rowley. He still sits there as the Prime Minister. I listened to him give a talk to an oil conference in Trinidad, and the man said Trinidad lost billions of dollars while they, the Trinidadians, were sleeping at the wheel. And he went in and took over and realized the mistakes they made, previous administration made. And he said that I have called BP and tell BP that I want a meeting with them. He said he told BP, put together a team, and I will have a team to sit and talk. And BP vice president went down to him and asked him, he said, boss, did we do anything wrong? Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago says, no, sir, we didn't do anything. You guys didn't do anything wrong. He said, sir, have we broken the laws of Trinidad and Tobago? The man said, no, sir, you didn't. But let me ask you something. The man said, any contract that only benefits one side, is that a contract? He said VP Vice President could not answer him. And he said, have a good day. And he put the phone down. And 3 days later, Keith Rowley, the Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister, said, hey, the team met, and guess what? We were able to sit and chat and garnered a better deal for Trinidad and its people. So that's the answer I would give you to that. We can sit, we can talk, and we can get better deals than what we would have signed on to.
Thank you very much there, Mr. Lall. And if you're now joining us here in the Wake Up Guyana show, I'm your host, Leonard Gildarie, and we have with us in the studio as a special guest, no other than Mr. Glenn Lall, the publisher of Kaieteur News, as well as the director-owner of Kaieteur Radio. And why is it that we're having this conversation? Oil and gas. You would have seen Kaieteur newspaper over the last couple years.
Every day.
Has been on it, oil and gas, talking about it every single day, to the point sometimes we get very crazy with him down at it's a brawl, it's a scene, it's a war in our newsroom every day on oil and gas. And so we're here to talk about it. He's decided that he's going to use his resources to ensure that the people of Guyana has a chance. So recently there was a major court case, and it's been looked at with hope. This is the case that was filed by TIGI, this Transparency International, Dr. Troy Thomas, talking about the length of time that Exxon would have been given with regards to its permits. And the court ruled in favor of the Guyanese people. Does this give the people of Guyana hope in terms of using the courts to get a better deal?
You see, these court cases, there always hope when we go before the courts. You go before the courts, it tells you that somebody would have wronged you. You're being cheated. You're not being treated fairly. And courts rule, it depends on what we go to court for. I don't recall exactly what was that matter. That matter had to do with Melinda Janke. That was
yes, in essence, for the persons who are joining us now and are not totally aware, you're given a permit. The laws allow you to give you a permit for a certain time, and the Guyana government went ahead and gave the permit to Exxon for about 20-40 years. And so if you get that, you can do anything you want with those 20-40 years. Oil finished by the time then. So
All
the
right.
Guyana government, go ahead. Yeah.
All right, I hear you. Now I'm refreshing my memory on it. Yes, it's where ExxonMobil got the government to break the petroleum law in granting an environmental protection agency permit for 40 years when the law clearly states only 4 years. So Mr. Thomas went to court, and they would have won that brought it back to the regulation, to the laws of Guyana. Did we get a big win? Yes, I think so. It's some people say we may not, but environmental issues are huge, and we should at all times protect our environment. And if you give a man a permit for 40 years, then he doesn't have to come back to you. It means you cleared him. It's like a driver's license. You give a man a driver's license for 40 years. Nobody does that. You got to be a lunatic to do that. You know? So you can't give an oil company 40 years EPA permit. He does whatever he wants to. You can't question him, right? But when you can limit him every 4 years, it's like the driver's license. You got to go make sure your eyes are okay. You're in good health. You know, and you have been keeping in line with the rules and regulations of a driver's license. Same thing with the permit. So we're keeping them there in line. Let's say they're flaring right now. That's not acceptable. No, the permit allows them. They were able to get the original permit that allows that. Flaring is part of the extraction of our oil and gas. Like every business, there is some degree of losses that you have to do. It's like, let me put it this way, like printing newspaper. Every day you print newspaper, you must get spoils in the beginning. Must. There's a must. There's no printing press can start without spoils. Okay? So you start up, you get your spoils, you fix your machine, and then you run, you get clean print. It's the same scenario you can use in the extraction of oil and gas.
Yes.
You start up, you got to flare a little before you can able to contain and control that, so you can get going with clean and clear oil. Right? Now, that was signed. But they were supposed to, that is only for starting up to get your business going. You were not supposed to be doing that in production line. No. Nobody does that. But because the oil is so cheap, the oil is so much, and they get it for free, they're here to grab and to knock up and to empty that drum. If they could empty it tomorrow morning, they're good to go with that. And that's what Guyana needs to understand. They're in a rush, they're in a hurry to clean up and click out and clear up. Because at the end of the day, the longer they take, they may very well have to relinquish parts of the blocks, and the contractual arrangements will kick in which they will lose out on. So they want to lose on nothing. They just want to empty that barrel as quick as possible.
I thank you very much for that, Mr. Lall. And I want to draw some parallels here. When you look at other countries, you look at Nigeria, even our neighboring country there, Trinidad and Tobago, 100 years in oil, and now they're running out of oil. They're barely surviving on some gas. Is it a good thing, Mr. Lall, that very early in the game, just less than a year after we started production, that we were able to start talking about it at this point in time?
You know, Gildarie, I thank God for that too. I thank God for that. And I keep saying this thing. It's a good thing that we have spotted, we have identified, we have hit the nail on the head right away. We did not allow what happened in Nigeria, in Papua New Guinea, even in Trinidad and Tobago. We did not allow what happened to them happen here. We were able to spot it, and we start hitting the nail bang every day. What happens in Nigeria? Nigeria, after 60 years of oil, Nigeria, one of the biggest oil producing country, has 180 million people. That's their population, 180 million people. And guess what, Guyana? Guess what, Mr. Gildarie? 90 million, half of its population is living with less than 400 Guyana dollars a day. Meaning they're living so goddamn poor and next to nothing that it aches your heart. During the pandemic, this is an oil-rich country, and during the pandemic they had to go beg for help. Come on, man. You got to be kidding. You got to be a moron to have so much wealth and has to beg for medication, to help, for little food. No. And that happens, Guyanese, or ladies and gentlemen, because the leaders of those countries, they are so goddamn corrupt that they stole everything for themselves, their friends, and their families. We cannot allow that to happen here in Guyana. Guyana, you have to stand up, you have to speak up, you have to get going. Brothers and sisters, we have to get going. We got to wake up this land. We got to tell them what they're doing. We will not accept it. We will not be broken after 40 years with the kind of oil wealth we have. No. And we will not live like a pauper now as oil come up. We have to live better. The nation deserves better, and we have to get better.
Thank you very much, dear. You tuned into the Wake Up Guyana show. As we come down to program time, let me tell you that the oil that you have in Guyana is one of the cheapest to bring up. In fact, it was a partner of ExxonMobil, Hess, which is producing right now on the Starbuck block, which has made it very clear during a recent meeting that it is so cheap that we drop in almost everything around the world to come to Guyana to produce. So they're making some profits and they're banking everything on it because it's so cheap. Mr. Lall, in closing, sir, what is it that you're saying to the people of Guyana when it comes what they could do? Because people would want to know. Yes, you have a newspaper behind you, you have a radio behind you, and there are others who are joining slowly, but you see there's a growing awareness by the people. What is it that the people of Guyana can do? Because I know you have some things that you are embarking on to give to your arsenal of things to bring more awareness. What is it that the people of Guyana can do?
It's such a tough question, what they can do. What I would like my leaders to do is not so much the people. People depend on your leaders. Your leaders are elected to safeguard deals that will benefit them. Not much they can do but try to learn and understand what's taking place. But if your leaders are failing, then we have to call out the leaders. We got to say, leaders, no, you cannot do that. This is a wrong decision. The people of this country will not benefit, and you need to change it. You need to swing. You need to get rid of it. You need to start looking in the direction on the deals that will benefit the people. And how long that is not happening in this country, I promise myself I will get on this radio. If I got to come here every day, I'm going to come here every day to enlighten the people as to what their leaders, what deals their leaders is siphoning off from them, leading to them not having a good and better life. I know, and I'm saying this in closing, that the wealth we have in this country, it is enormous. We should be living like kings and queens. I tell my staff many times, I say, we should be throwing up our foot in the veranda and drinking whiskey. Instead, the deals our leaders are giving us is making us go back into the plantations to cut cane and plant rice. This is unthinkable and it's unimaginable. Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you very much, dear. And so, in his own style, in his own way, Mr. Glenn Lall bringing to you some of the things that we should be talking about with regards to the oil and gas sector. Many more things that we could not have touched on today. He is going to be back. He has a show on Sunday. If you've missed the one last evening at 7 p.m.,
tonight.
Well, tonight you're going to be back again. Yes.
Tonight it's there.
It's there. We are going to be replaying it this evening at 7 p.m. on Kaieteur Radio. You could also relook at the program that was aired last evening on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, on Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And we apologize today for not bringing many calls to you. But of course, normal programming tomorrow. And as you would know by now, Mr. Glenn Lall on radio, nothing is normal. He is going to bring it to you the way that he knows how. Very raw, very straight. And thank you very much, Mr. Lall. Do have a pleasant rest of the day until we speak again. So until then, we are going to be back tomorrow as normal. On Friday, it is going to be, I think Dr. Mahadeo has indicated that he's going to be back with us just for talk with you people. You've been calling for it. He is going to be here. We are going to be back tomorrow as normal programming, normal calls tomorrow. I know that you have been sending us a lot of messages. We are going to be back tomorrow normally on everything. So it has been a pleasure. It is we in the midst of November here now, almost to the midst, and we headed on to the Christmas stretch. I hope that you're taking care, that you're doing whatever is necessary to protect yourself. I love you very much. The newspaper love you, and the radio love you as well. So wherever you join us from today, it's been a pleasure talking to you as normal. So have a pleasant rest of the day until.
Tips sponsored by Dex Soap. 1. Practice social distancing. 2. Wear your mask when leaving the house. 3. Wash your hands regularly for 20 seconds using our Dex Soap. 4. Cover your nose and mouth with a disposable tissue or flex elbow when you cough or sneeze. Choose Dex Soap for that extra cleanliness. Dex Soap is affordable and available nationwide.
The Guyana Elections Commission is advising all persons who registered and did not uplift their national identification card that they can uplift same from the GCOM registration office in their respective area from Monday to Friday between 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 16 hours. ID cards are only available for persons who registered before 2019 but never collected their ID card, persons who are older than 18 years and registered for the first time during the house-to-house registration 2019, persons who requested a replacement card because they lost their ID card, persons who requested a retake of ID photo, and persons who have had an ID card but requested change or corrections to their names or particulars. ID cards are not available for persons who already have an ID card and persons under the age of 18 years at the time of house-to-house registration 2019. Don't delay. Visit the nearest GCOM registration office to uplift your ID card today. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-0277, 223-9653 or email us at pro@gcom.org.gy or visit GCOM's website at www.gcom.org.gy or the nearest GCOM registration office.
Some things in life are better to
Weak systems of governance and the absence of the rule of law